Barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free, hit the subscribe button. So I want to talk about Keith Thurman and the fight as it relates. I'll do my recap of the week a little bit later this afternoon. But I just want to touch y'all real quick. And there was a consensus around the arena. I haven't watched anyone's videos yet. I literally just got home. And there was a consensus that Keith Thurman isn't ready, right? We all saw the fight. We all saw who Keith Thurman was in 2016 and 2017. And he also said that he was afraid to take any risk. Okay. He said he'll just be an ABC boxer and get out of the fight. And so, by most accounts, most objective accounts, we all agree Keith Thurman wasn't the person that was able to go to the highest gear, to go to, was it fifth gear? Fifth gear in the Keith Thurman fight, fifth gear in the first 4 rounds of Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman. You know, we didn't see that last night. But I think, in my humble opinion, I think we're jumping the gun a little bit. The kid was out 2 years. Um, and I'm just going to tell you from what I know, or let's just say allegedly what I know about Keith Thurman. You know, um, the injuries were real that he had. Um, do I agree? I wish he would have came back sooner. 100%. Um, but I want you guys. I'm not giving the man an out. I just want you guys to see his side, since you guys trust my value and the information that I have. All right. He's had multiple injuries with his hands. Um, um, I'll let Keith Thurman talk about the severity of his hands. And we all know in boxing, without your hands, you're basically a pity pat type of puncher, right? Most notable is Paulie Malignaggi. If you ever had a conversation or an interview or with Paulie Malignaggi, he's had some great hand injuries. It definitely aided in his inability to knock out fighters. And the most popular person, the most polarizing one, is Floyd Mayweather, right? He had to protect his hands and so on and so forth. And as I'm watching this fight, I said something's wrong with Keith Thurman's right hand, right? And I forget who I. Oh, you know who I was sitting next to? Oh, I watched the fight with Eric, the guy who's in my 48-minute interview I did with Robert Garcia, the guy that did the breakdown of that, and I watched it with Coach Andre Rozier. We were all literally right next to each other. And by the way, Andre Rozier is a genius. He was he was he was. You ever seen a person like navigate? He's like navigating the fighter with his words. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do this. He's doing that. And no matter whether he was talking about Keith Thurman or Jose De Lopez, says, watch him pick up his back foot. Watch him pick up his front foot before he pick up his back foot. You know what I mean? Like, it was just amazing to listen to him speak. You know what I mean? So it was pretty enlightening. I'll use the word enlightening, and it was an honor to sit next to him uh, for the fight. Um, but let's talk. And I was watching the fight, and I made note of it around about the fourth or fifth round. I said something's wrong with Keith Thurman's right hand, and I'm going to speak from personal experience. If you guys have been following me on Instagram, my road to Dallas, I've talked about my hand injuries that I've had since November. I've had hand injuries, and um, I've had bone spurs in my knuckles, right? And it's been hard on me. Um, I haven't hit the heavy bag. Everyone in the gym knows I haven't been able to hit the heavy bag as I've been wanting to. My trainer knows, um, and it's the pain. Honestly, is like an 8, and this is me, a person who can. I would consider myself with a high pain tolerance because I had to grow up poor. You know, what I mean, you have to fight for everything you have, whether it's mentally, physically, or spiritually, right? And I haven't had that. I didn't have surgery. I just had to let my hands heal, right? And I'll say about Keith Thurman, um, he's uh, he's fighting some serious injuries, and and as I watched him, and as I got confirmation from people that yes, yeah, when I finish this video, we'll play baseball. Okay, go put the bat and the ball in the backyard, and I'll come down when I finish this video. It's already on the backyard. Okay. Are you the Yankees or the Dodgers? The Dodgers. Okay. Well, let me know when you're the Yankees. We'll play. All right. and so and the information that I got um leads me to believe that and I'm gonna let Keith Thurman talk about this. But what I really, really want to talk about, and because I know this through personal experience, Keith Thurman is a married man, right? We all know this. It went viral through the boxing community. And his wife lives in another country. And when you get married, when you fall in love and you find someone you really want to be with and they can't live with you, it's a level of stress. It's a level of concern that paralyzes you. And I don't know, I haven't experienced this, but the reason why I'm able to go out and cover these fights and travel and give you guys, as you guys say, great interviews, great content, and just who cares about how you feel about the content? I'm able to give you content, right? The reason why I'm able to give you content is because Dre can watch the kids. As you just heard Lincoln come upstairs and ask me to play baseball with him, like he can. I have that teammate. I have, whether she's Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, or whether we switch roles throughout the day, or Shaq, Kobe, you know, um, I have that. And Dre and I have known each other since 1997. Her freshman year at Whittier College, I was a junior in college, and we've been friends ever since. And but not to have that, like, that level of comfort level, and someone that you can confide in, and someone that you intend on spending the rest of your life with, um, to be your teammate. And I know all the hardcore boxing fans are gonna be like, "Fuck it, deal with it, yada yada yada." But when you're going through something, whether it's injuries, whether Keith Thurman got other personal issues, I don't know those other personal issues. But when you don't have your teammate to aid you and support you in those situations, it mentally drains you, you know? And I thank heavens that Keith Thurman is mentally tough. He's not mentally tough like from where I come from. He has a different type of mentally tough, and he doesn't get that respect because boxing is a poor man's sport, right? You don't have to. Many fighters don't have a high level of intellect, right? That Could you open these for me now? Sure. One second, guys. When I get finished this video, we'll go up and play baseball, okay? Yeah, go get a spoon downstairs. Take the spoon. Okay. Let me finish this video. I'll be downstairs in a sec. And when you don't have your teammate to aid you and support you in whatever you go through, it takes longer. Simple. A simple analogy. Any one of the subscribers, whoever listens to the video, you have kids in the morning. It takes an hour to get out the house. And imagine if you had to do it by yourself. You understand? So, from that standpoint, which, if you're married, you have a girlfriend, or you've been divorced, or you've lived with someone, you can understand where I'm coming from. And from a selfish perspective, did I wish this would have happened in a year and Keith Thurman would have gotten this all done in a year? But the first thing that came out of Keith Thurman's mouth says, I'm going to Japan, right? Japan, or I'm leaving the country and I'm going to see my wife. That's the first thing he said in the interview, outside of his thanks. So that shows you where his heart is. Go watch the press conference, you know? Um, and I left. You guys know my schedule. I mean, as it relates to boxing, I left Thursday morning, right? The week before, right? To go cover Manny Pacquiao, Adrian Broner. Flew back Sunday. You guys know my schedule. Stayed home Sunday, Monday, Tuesday night, caught a red eye to New York, and now I'm home this Sunday. I've been gone since last Thursday. Thursday, I'm doing this intentionally, guys. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's 4 days from the other week. Then I was gone. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, six. 6 and 4 is 10. I was gone 10 out of the last 14 days. And this is just for me to cover boxing. This ain't for help me um, get through some emotional stress or some physical ails that I'm going through. This is just for me to go to work. I had to have a teammate. I had to have a partner. You understand where I'm coming from? So from that perspective, and everyone knows who's been married, who's had a girlfriend, who's had a boyfriend, who's had a partner, right? You know how valuable it is, how that partner aids in your peace. 78 talks about this a lot, and I think I've sent them a text maybe a while ago about this. Like, peace is so powerful. You're not taking my joy away, and I think you get that as a man when you're providing and protecting for a woman. And when you when there's something out of your control, that's why there's so much fear on an airplane because you have no control, right? The shit shakes. What do you do? Ugh. You know what I mean? So, because you lack control, you know? And I just wanted to come from another perspective. Is he physically ready to compete at the highest level? We saw last night he's not, right? He may need to fight a Victor Ortiz. He may need to fight an Andre Berto, a Devin Alexander. I know those guys as kids that he grew up with from his region, but these are fights that may need to happen so to get him ready. Robert Guerrero, who's making a comeback. Maybe they can do part two. Hmm. Be careful going down the stairs. That's okay. I'm gonna eat them here. 1 second, guys. Give me a second. I'm doing a video. Are you talking to those guys on the computer? You know how to open them? Mm-hmm. Good, man. There you go, buddy. Hey, go in your room. I'll go downstairs and sit down and eat them so you don't spill it. And so, let me catch up where I'm at. Oh, yeah, going over there and just having, I forgot where I'm at, so I'm gonna have to catch up mentally. But just having that partner, man, I think is just, oh, is he capable of at that? We all know he's not ready. We saw yesterday. But the point I'm making is, if he had his partner, he would have had a teammate to get through what he needed to get through. Use me as an example. If I didn't have a partner, I would have to pick which fight I'm going to. And more than likely, it would have been Adrian Broner, Manny Pacquiao, because it's less days, less travel, less expensive, So all that goes into play into Keith Thurman walking into the ring last night. All right. Keith Thurman has had some injuries. He had an injury. I can when I've seen Keith Thurman last 20 fights. I can't say I saw the from the beginning. I knew who he was in the amateurs, obviously, um, but con- every punch he's thrown the last 20 fights I've seen, and and what we know about fighters, the last thing to go is the ability to throw a punch. Hence George Foreman. You know what I mean? Um, and when you can't do that, he was pity patting. And watch the fight. His back foot, which was his right foot, came off every time he tried to throw the right hand. Many times when he tried to throw his right hand with power. You saw his right hand leave the ground, his right foot leave the ground because he couldn't commit with the right hand. He couldn't commit. You know what I mean? He threw the right hand to touch and get the hell out the way, and he would fall into his opponent. Watch how many times he did that last night. And you guys will say I'm not a Keith Thurman apologist, but I just want to come from a different angle before I watch everyone else's videos and read everyone else's articles and just give you guys a different perspective. You know, but I know without a shadow of a doubt, without having that partner, and I'm just talking about boxing. I'm not talking about your everyday life. I'm not talking about. Um, I give you guys another example about since you guys know that part of my life. When Dre has to go to work, I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, go run, come home by 6, go run, go lift weights, come home by 6. She leaves. I get Lincoln ready for school, and Kennedy goes to work with me. I can't do that without a partner. And these are just small, small things, and but I just Keith Thurman knows where he's at. I have no doubt in my mind, and he's gonna have to until he's 100% healthy. He's gonna have to get the fadeaway. You know what I mean? He's gonna have to go in the post and work on his fadeaway game. You know what I mean? Michael Jordan did it. The greats did it. You know, Magic Johnson came up with the hook. He realized he didn't have a jump shot, a consistent jump shot, so he got the running hook. He learned it from the captain. You know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for all my young kids. It's called the cap. They called him cap. All right. Um, um, so we all got to make adjustments. I had to make adjustments. You understand? I had to put a UFC glove. What I had to do, if I wanted to hit the glove, hit the hit the heavy bag, had to put a UFC glove on my hand first, then put wraps on, and then put the glove on and hit the bag at 50-60% of my power. I got to make adjustments. If I want to continuously sustain my weight and keep my honor to this road to Dallas commitment that I'm doing, I had to make adjustments. Keith Thurman is going to make adjustments as he stays as he stays in boxing. But right now, yeah, I don't think he's physically ready to compete at that level because he has to learn how to make adjustments. Floyd made the adjustments. Some fighters, athletes make the adjustments sooner than others. And you're talking to a young guy who's been physically gifted his entire life as it relates to boxing. So first he has to come to grips with he has to make adjustments, and he learned tonight that he's gonna have to make some form of adjustments. And I'm real curious to see his adjustments moving forward. You know, um, um, he went from an invisible number two. I had Earl Spence, Keith Thurman. Um, I'm talking about at 147, not the overall resume, because you gotta say you got Terrence Crawford, you got Sean Porter ahead of Terrence Crawford because of the 147 resume. I had Earl Spence 1, Keith Thurman 2, Sean Porter 3, Terrence Crawford 4, right? Just because of I'm not talking about potential in terms of fight. I'm talking about who they fought at 147 and where they're at, you know. And I think right now Keith Thurman has gone to number 4, Earl Spence number 1, Sean Porter number 2, Terrence Crawford number 3, and Keith Thurman number 4. So Sean Porter's number 2, Terrence Crawford's number 3, and Keith Thurman's number 4. And that's just what I believe. Does Terrence Crawford have a higher ceiling to be number 2 or number 1? Absolutely. But the composite of his 147 resume is fails in comparison to a Sean Porter. You know what I mean? So, do I believe Terrence? I just want to kill the comments now. Do I believe Terrence Crawford will be the favorite against Sean Porter? Yes, I believe it. Okay, So I'm just letting you guys know. Just I'm grading it off of actual 147 resume, not the composite of the athlete. Okay. So, um, but yeah, Keith Thurman is number 4 now, and Danny Garcia wants a rematch, as he tweeted or something. I saw a screenshot somewhere. So, um, so that's my take on it. I agree with the energy that was in the arena last night. Keith Thurman isn't ready to compete at the A level yet. He probably This will literally be a get back year. Um, if Sean Porter gets by Ugas, and he's the favorite to get by Ugas, I can foresee Sean fighting again in November. Was it March, April, May, June, July, August? Yeah, he usually fights in the early spring and the late fall, winter. So I definitely can foresee that, and maybe Keith Thurman will be ready by then. You know, who knows? But Keith Keith Thurman wants to see his wife. He's going to Japan for the month. He said he'll be gone the entire month of February. That says a lot of where his mindset is. So I had a and to finish this, I had a great time covering Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman is what boxing needs. You know, um, he every all the top 4 guys. Well, let's say 5. Danny Garcia's in there too. The top 5 guys at welterweight division gives us each something different, and they're great at their individual talents and skills. They're great at it, and um, I'm glad that everything is in play now, and I hope that Keith Thurman gets healthy. I hope that he's able to compete at the highest level, because I think, for all intents purposes, watching Keith Thurman right now fight Earl Spence is like Terry Norris fighting Sugar Ray Leonard. Like, you don't really want to watch it, but it has to take place. You know, it's like Arturo Gotti, Floyd Mayweather. You don't really, really want to see rounds 3 through whatever it lasted, but it has to happen. After round 2, you like, this shit is just, it's we don't want to see, we don't need to see no more of this, right? But you know, but I don't want to see an unhealthy Keith Thurman fight any of these guys. And is it 2019, 2020? Hopefully he'll be ready by the end of this year. If he can get a fight in June, this is January. If he can get a fight in June, didn't take 4 months to get ready for his November, because they don't, PBC goes dark in October, right? So November, December, maybe we can get something going with Keith Thurman then, and you know, we'll get it. But I I know as much as you guys do, but I think this is an honest vantage point, viewpoint. But I wanted to personalize what I believe. I only can speak from my perspective, from what I believe to be true about Keith Thurman, and how, in my humble opinion, how they would weigh on you. You marry a woman and she can't live with you, So, um, um, and as I have all these welterweights at 147, they're great. All of them are going to the Hall of Fame. All of them at different points, obviously, but all 5 of these son of a guns are going to the Hall of Fame. So, um, and we'll sit back and see how it takes place. But again, I'll reiterate, because I don't want you guys to misinterpret what I am saying. Keith Thurman is not ready. And I'm telling you guys the reason why, one of the many reasons I believe Keith Thurman to not be ready, is because he's married, he has a wife, and they don't, and for some odd reason, legally, or you know, um, she can't come to America, and I think that weighs on Keith Thurman, and I think it hindered his rehab. I think it hindered his recovery from his injuries. So there was a great Oh man, it just happened. But I'm gonna keep it G. Every fighter that is married or has a long-term girlfriend will tell you when they go to Big Bear, Colorado Springs, um, wherever they need to go, they can't do it without a woman taking care of their family. You guys say, well, Keith Thurman don't have kids, but there's other variables in their life that I think that can comfort him. You know what I mean? Coming home to a peaceful house instead of an empty house. How powerful is that? Coming home to a peaceful house instead of an empty house. And all my young fellas are gonna be like, man, he can go fuck every other woman. That maybe that doesn't fulfill him, you know, you know. So, anyways, man, this is 25 minutes. This is probably 10 minutes too long. But anyways, man, I appreciate you guys. It was an honor meeting many of you guys this weekend. Can't wait to do it again. We're in LA the next couple of weeks. I actually wanted to go to the Kovalev fight, but it's just too much travel. Too much travel, man. And I was real interested in going to that fight Friday and Saturday and come back Sunday. But anyways, man, we'll see. Um, Barbershop Conversations, man. Feel free at the subscribe button. And I thank you guys. Peace, guys.